Hello everyone and welcome back to this Gran Turismo 5 playthrough. We're now going to have a look at A2 and this is in Rome, so I'll just grab a seat. There we go. So same as before, we're going to just have a quick read, so get some experience with blind corners on the first three bends of the Rome city. Enter the high speed first corner, apply full braking. Now to me that's not what you do on the first corner already. So we will ignore that. We'll be a bit rebellious and ignore that. And then some deft accelerator work. I've never heard of that word before. And we're just going to make it through the finish line. So that sounds pretty easy to me. So let's load up. And Rome being my favourite track, of course. So let's see what we can do on this Rome circuit. Obviously it's the first three corners. We'll just have a look at the options first. And we can whack traction control straight off there. And you can see all the other options. So the time is 28. And we'll go to 38:43. So let's get cracking. So it's not a very fast car, as we can see we're hitting 94, 95 mile. We can actually count the speed really. We're not going to do... Okay, we did do full there, and we've got... Okay, I can see why it said full braking. We have as much understeer as a boat. But we'll continue round. And this should mean the finish is round here. And we have missed out on the gold there. So we got a bit too cocky with ourselves, trying to ignore that, and we've only come out with a silver. So we'll redo that. We're obviously going to get the gold. Can't leave here with a silver. So straight back into it. I do want to trail brake a little bit more though, going through there. So we're just going to come around again. Obviously we want to stay left. I want to get a bit more close to the barrier. We're going to brake about 70 meters, which is about there. I want to sort of come in on the inside, do as we've just done there, use a bit of the curbing as an anchor point, gain lots of time because of that, and then we're going to want to do the same again here if we can. We've missed it, but we're still going to get goal here. What we should do, there we go, we get a 26.9, still lots of time there, so I am going to risk it. We're going to go straight into the next one. We're not going to save that replay straight away. Sort of time we're looking at here at the moment, 26.7 maybe. 26.6 would be really pushing it, but probably possible. We've only had a couple of goes, so we'll have to really keep pushing ourselves. Once again, want to do the same again. And that's too much, not enough braking, and we've actually dabbed the barrier there slightly. Didn't lose too much time actually from that, because we went in so quick. But we obviously need a bit more braking than 15-20% that we were doing. So same again, obviously we want to stay tight. The front wheel drive car this, well it feels like one anyway. So 70 meters. Just let the car roll a little bit. We've missed the anchor point. Now notice how our ghost will catch us up. We'll see if we can gain a bit of time using the anchor point on this side. And as you can see there we have. So obviously we're now abusing, or whatever you want to call it, the track layout. So we're trying to use the curb to grab the car, keep us in while we can still accelerate. This sort of thing which licenses are good for, because now you know that, you can now use that to your advantage in a race. Or you can approach a track in that manner. So come on, keep turning! Have you seen how much I've turned in this wheel to try and get this car around? And there we go, we're still ahead of the ghost, so there is loads of time there. And we've missed the anchor point now, so now we're going to see this ghost just start coming flying through. We're a bit ahead, because we went in there much more aggressive. So we're on our 0.7 now. 0.6 is definitely possible here, we could be talking 0.5s. Huge amounts of time to gain here, huge. So once again we're going to come round. Now we've been too aggressive. It's very interesting this, because obviously we want to get the anchor point, but we want to be aggressive as well. And it's very hard to get a combination of them both. So once again, we want to stay tight to this first bend. Obviously the millimeters extra that we can stay tight will help us. So I just tried something slightly different there that I've never really tried before that much in Gran Turismo, and we haven't lost that much time because of it. So I have no idea where I am in comparison to the Ghost, and we beat it. But we only beat it because of the second part of that. If you remember, we didn't use the anchor point on the second corner. So we're showing here that anchor points are useful, but we're also showing how the aggressiveness is also needed. Now we need to combine them both, essentially. Come in a bit better there. Just missed it, only by a bit. And we turned in a bit too early as well. So because you still need to align the car in a way that it can grip and keep hold of it, especially on this corner. So the other corners with higher curbs, you can be a bit more lenient with it and where you turn in. So we've got a much better line. We didn't get the anchor point again, but we've got a much better line if we release the steering as we've just done there. And there we go, that's a proper time. So we've got 0.6 there, so definitely 0.5 is possible. I will save this just in case, obviously. We don't want to do what we did last time. So let's have a quick save of that. So that's that one saved, but let's push for a 0.5. We said 43, but 9 minutes to go on this. So let's really push for this. We've just gone in a bit too deep there. It's meant we've gone a bit wider and meant we've not been able to carry as much speed, but hopefully if we can stay anchored to this, like we just we hit the barrier. But if you notice, we were just slightly gaining then. So stayed in the anchor a bit more. It helps us come around the corner a bit more like that. So, oop, don't do that where you just let the wheel drive itself. So I want to brake. I'm going to brake at 60 there. See, we're turning in a bit too early. It's costing us on the middle part of the corner. It's a double apex essentially. They call it 3 corners. It's actually 2, but one of them's got a double apex. Well, I would say consider it 1 corner, unless you call this a corner. But so I broke at 50 there just to try it out, and I'm thinking 60 meters as I said before, but try not to turn in so early, because if you turn in too early, you're gonna have a problem. So let's try this again. So 60 is about there. That was a bit after 60 actually. We're just going to release the steering really early here. Notice there's no tyre squeal now. You can see there we've sort of evened it out. The Ghost was slightly pulling away, but we stayed in the anchor point a bit longer and it evened out. But we want to get a 0.5 here. I think a 0.5 is definitely possible. Probably even lower than that if I was on top form, but obviously I've had a little bit of a break. So I'm just letting the steering release earlier just to have a bit of practice with that. So obviously it's not just the braking there. We've got to get the line right and then get the release in the steering. Being a front wheel drive car, obviously the wheels can only do so much. So it's about there. It's just a bit too early, but being a bit less aggressive there has helped us quite a bit actually. We've gone in a bit too deep to this one, but because we're going to get anchored like that, slightly hit the barrier which cost us there, but the anchorage sort of allows us to go a bit deeper on that corner. So 2 different corners, 2 different outcomes. Obviously one we weren't allowed to go too deep, the other one we can. Nah, we don't want to do that. See, I'm actually going to try 50 meters and just come off the braking and let the car roll. It seems like it wants to turn in more than you would think, really. So I'm going to try it. Well, just before 50. Notice how I quickly release the steering there. That's what I'm trying to do all the time now on the exit of this corner. I've mentioned it briefly, but that's my idea, is that if I release it, or quickly release it, I'm sort of stopping all the understeer. Yeah, I could be turning full 90 lock, and I'm not doing anything there. But if I can release it and still get the right turn in. So yeah, we're just coming in a bit too tight. What we're on, we've got 5 minutes left. 5 minutes to get this 0.5. So once again, we're going to come round. We're going to stay out a bit longer again. Maintained a lot higher speed there, and I felt it as well. Sort of 2 or 3 miles an hour quicker. And we got a bit more anchorage, so we have improved. Got 0.657 there. I will save that, as that is now our best. Save the replay. I'm not sure I can overwrite this. I can't actually remember. No, it's being used. So we'll save it twice. Let's jump back in though. We want that 0.5. Not far off. Here we go. So same again, we've sort of got the idea now. We need to stay out wider a bit longer. There we go, that was perfect. That's exactly how you want to do it. We didn't get the anchorage, but we still managed to maintain a very, very good line. We're not too far ahead though, and no, we're not ahead at all. But the first corner was absolutely epic. The first part of the first corner anyway. Properly nailed that one. So we didn't, on our best runs we've been maintaining 69 round there. That was 67, but it's quite a smooth line. So this is why we're sort of still racing the Ghost. Oh! It caught it a bit too much, and I was turning the wheel too much. That cost me some time there. So once again, let's go straight back into this. We know what we're doing, we've just got to get the time. So just before the 50. Oh, don't do that, I'm going to hit the rear end. So we're going just before the 50, we want to turn in. If we can get the anchor, get the anchor. If we can't, don't worry about it too much. It's more vital on the second corner rather than the first. And we were after 69, but that was a pretty terrible corner. However, it's going to give us a very good line for this corner. Until we did that. But I will say this, in the race, this is exactly what I'm doing on this track. As you know, it's one of my favourite tracks, Rome. And all these manoeuvres, because I still remember them, it's exactly what I'm doing. I'm just getting it right for this car. We hit the barrier there, but we're still going to keep going with that. Until you see there that we lost all that speed. So we have 2 minutes remaining. It's about 3 or 4 attempts. So we definitely can do this. Let's go around again. Definitely didn't feel as fast. Took more speed initially in the first part of the corner, but we lost out in the second part. And obviously with these tests we're only talking miles an hour, like 1 mile an hour, 2 mile an hour. But something to highlight with that is, if we're talking about that and we're talking about a temp, do that for every corner of a track. So we hit the barrier there initially, but we've managed to get on the throttle a lot earlier, and it's meant we've maintained a lot more speed through there. And we're actually going to beat our time, I think. Oh no, I thought we were. We're a bit off still. But that's what we sort of want to do, but try and brake a tiny bit later. So we'll have 2 more attempts after this one, and then we'll call it there on this one. Gone in a bit too deep this time. Going to go out really wide. I'm just going to hit the barrier here. And obviously you can see there. So we've got this attempt and one other to get this 0.5. We know it's there. Definitely can see it. You can see how different approaches to this corner have different outcomes, but you can see sort of where the speed is. And we're just gaining on the go slightly there, but we lost it just a bit on the exit. And we hit the rev limiter there. So last go, one last shot. Let's go for this. I normally don't do that sort of stuff, going on and off the throttle, but it sort of helped us in this situation. Not sure how. We didn't do it, but we know 0.5's there. I'll blame me being a bit rusty for that one. But that was license A2. We got the gold, and yeah, next up is license A3. So I'll see you guys in the next video.